Well, thank you all for first of all being here at the conference. And I'm excited to answer your questions, give you some advice. So if anyone wants to get started and question about anything. So basically, like, I'll just give you a little brief background just so you can kind of know what questions you can ask. I've been here for over 3 years now. I personally sold over $160,000 at Cutco, so I'm good at selling Cutco. I ran 2 branches and we were top 20 both times. We were number 6 last summer. So I'm also good at teaching people how to sell Cutco. I'm won 3 in a row, so I'm good at being consistent. And then I'm also good. My biggest week ever is 10,000. So I'm also good at pushing as well. So I can answer anything, whether it's sales, assistant management, being a manager, running an office, anything in between.
Connor, I guess I have a question for you. Like, how do you like recenter? Like, I just came off a push, like the SLC push, and I like finished, like I sold 13,000 in that, and then like a week or two to like, kind of just like, from that push to resettle, or just kind of take a break, celebrate a little bit, and now like how do you resettle and get back into a mode of going back again? Like, how would you handle that?
Well, first of all, congratulations on that. That is a good push. So good job doing that.
Thank you.
To answer your question, for me, I've honestly been nonstop for a while now because I ran a branch and then I had sales momentum and then I was selling at 50%. So I kept it going. And then I just kept it. And then it's like, I took it down until I was doing like 5 demos a week. So this was last year, school year. I was doing like 5 presentations a week. So nothing crazy, but it's like, I just kept it going. So I guess to get back started on,
like I was doing like, not to like interrupt you, but I was doing like, I was doing a couple demos, but it wasn't that, the pace I was doing for the push, but I was doing like a couple. And I'm trying to get back to like a similar, not exactly like, 24 to 30 like demos a week, but like for sure, like 20 demos a week, try to get back, to that level.
Then just look at your schedule and figure out what days work best for you. For me, I don't do demos on the weekends because those are for me. And the thing is, I earned 1 scholarship doing that because I was able to do it. I'm going to earn a scholarship this semester. So I'm probably going to have to start doing demos on the weekends because I'm behind, but weekends are for me. So what I do is I stack up my Mondays and my Wednesdays because I'm done in class at 2:00. So I can do 3 to 5 appointments Monday and Wednesday night. And then I'll usually do 2 on Tuesday because I get done I have TLA from 5 to 6.
Sure.
I do a 6:30 and then 8. And then Thursdays I don't do appointments because that's tough. And I might do one on Friday. But for me, I can easily do, 3 to 5 Monday and Wednesday, 1 to 2 on Tuesdays. So it's like, for me, I make phone calls Thursday nights, Saturday mornings, and Sunday nights. Because when I make phone calls Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, well, guess what I'm booking demos for? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sure.
So first of all, just look at your schedule because, that's the first tip for you. Just look at your schedule to see when you want to do demos, when you can do demos, when you can phone for those demos.
Yeah.
So like what consistent. I would just say keep it consistent is what I would do.
Okay.
Was there a more specific question with that?
No, you answered my question. Like, like look at your schedule, see what time works for you, and then keep it consistent. Right? Is what you're saying?
And another thing that might help is my manager would do this with me, and I loved it. So it's like, let's say you have a goal to do 10 appointments this week. Your goal is to do 10. You need to have a higher goal where if you hit that, you reward yourself. You need to have a lower goal where if you don't hit that, you punish yourself. Punish is a strong word, but like, if you don't complete 5 appointments, let's say your goal is 10. If you don't complete 5, you cannot play Xbox for a whole week. But if you complete 15 appointments, because your goal is 10, but if you complete 12, because it's a little bit more, if you complete 12, well, then you can buy yourself something. So for me, if I sold, I don't remember what it was, but if I sold this much money in the month of September, I was going to buy myself a new pair of basketball shoes. I didn't, so I didn't buy myself a new pair of basketball. So that's one thing that'll motivate you because like you have your goal to complete 10. If you hit your higher goal, you reward yourself, but you have a minimum of 5, and if you don't hit 5, then you have to punish yourself somehow, and that's just going to motivate you to work.
Yeah, man.
Plus, you have something to look forward to.
I like it.
So yeah, there's another tip for you.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna assume, like, have you ever gone through a period where you fear selling, like, or just have like severe anxiety? Um, yeah, periods like that, and how do you get over those humps?
I would watch someone else's demo. I think that'll help. Another thing is like, what's giving you? Why are you so anxious about selling? Like, is it more so like you don't want to make phone calls to book the demo? Is it more so that you're feeling rusty? Like, why are you so
Um,
anxious?
I don't think like being rusty is the problem for me. It's more so like I'm so disorganized, and I feel like I just have to sit and like do something for an hour, but like I feel like I have to just sit, take time to like organize everything. But when I look at all my numbers, like I'm over here complaining, oh my gosh, I have 400 people to call, but it's like, who do I call? Who don't I like? I'm like
Mhm.
overthinking it, and I feel so overwhelmed because there's so much to do and such like I don't know, like I don't know what to put, which to put first, basically.
Well, first of all, be easy on yourself. You can't expect you to, be on top of everything. You got to be easy with yourself. So it's like with what Jesse said, if you have those habits, if you miss it once, it's like, don't be pissed off at yourself. It's like, oh, there's one day I'm going to start it tomorrow and you're good to go. So first of all, don't be so hard on yourself. But second of all, um, I forgot what you said. I had something I was going to say, but basically it's like, I would just start, like, just get started on that. Because for me, I don't mind making phone calls now because like I'm excited to do because I'm more so doing in-person presentations compared to Zoom because I started doing in person. So it's like I'm just doing those now and I'm excited for those. So it's like for me, I'm looking forward to making phone calls to booking demos, blah, blah, blah. But there was a point in time where I hated phone calls. It was when I was earning my third scholarship, it just sucked. And that first one was the worst. But once I made one, the second one was a piece of cake. And then, I'm 25 phone calls later and it's easy as that. So just get started on whatever you need to do. You said you need to get organized, whatever it is, just get started. And the thing is, like let's say you have 5 things to do. Don't sweat which one you have to get done first. You can probably prioritize a little bit, but don't worry about it too much. Just get it done. And then my next tip I would just talk to your manager. Maybe have a 30, 45-minute PC with your manager and ask them a lot of questions because guess what? I bet you they can answer all those questions.
Connor, can I add to that?
Yes, please.
So in terms of obviously consult your manager with like what you should prioritize first. But if you don't have demos ahead of you, phoning is the number one priority. Sorry, I have something stuck in my throat. But yeah, if you don't have demos ahead of you, like that's the number one priority. Just finding time in your schedule to prioritize a phone jam or making calls, because that's just where you start with everything. So for like a concrete answer, phone time and demos ahead of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Did I answer your questions?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah, of course. And Avi, I saw your hand raised first.
Hi, Connor. Like, it's, I've started here this summer, in late June,
Mhm.
and being in leadership, formal leadership, roles like assistant manager, like, um, executive, executive assistant manager, etc. That's never really been my goal. Rather, I would shoot for something like the CSP or events or those.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you've been doing a lot of personal sales and like office managing and things like that. But would you have any advice as far as if I wanted to go the non-management route?
Yeah, I think that's great. That's also something that I've thought about too. I love being a manager. I also love selling. And when you're selling, you have a little bit more control over your schedule compared to being a manager. So it's like it's been on my mind. I love selling. So my advice would be I would ask your manager who you can talk to about that. Vernon B. Williams, Lucky Odiasi, Steven Zang are two CSPs in the Skyway division, but there's tons of CSPs out there that would love to tell you more about it. So I would just ask your manager, say, hey, who can I talk to that can give you more insight on being a CSP? That's my best advice for you. Yeah, I'll just try and talk to somebody. That way you can ask them questions, because I haven't done it before, so I don't have the best advice for you. But I would talk to a CSP because they're going to be able to tell you everything.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Cyan.
Yeah. So I had a question about referrals. So I just got hired. I'm still in my fast start contest, and I'm still kind of getting the hang of like going over the manual, doing the presentation. And I know when like I'm asking for referrals and I'm going through like what it says in the manual, I'm still having like a hard time getting referrals from people while I'm doing the meeting. They always like tell me, "Oh, I'll get back to you," or "I'll text you the referrals." I can't think of them off the top of my head. And then I kind of go to, I think it's page 15, where if they give you those answers, then you reply back with what they give you in the manual, but they're still like not giving me referrals. So do you have any tips on referrals basically?
Of course, I have a lot. So first of all, the number one tip is memorizing page 16. That's the referral page. I have it memorized. I don't need to say it, but when you have it memorized, you're going to ask more confidently. When you ask more confidently, they're going to feel more comfortable giving you recommendations. Okay. So, because what it is you don't have to think about what you're saying, because when you have it memorized, you can think about how to say it, which just gives it more confidence and it means more. You can make it seem like it's a bigger deal to you. So first of all, memorize page 16, and then yes, those objections are right there next to it. Page 15 or 17 is right next to it. And then another tip is you need to mention it early and often, because if let's say you do a whole presentation and then at the end of the demo, you ask them, hey, by the way, I need you to recommend people to me. And you kind of hit them out of the blue. Well, they're going to be not looking forward to it, less likely to do it. You're going to catch them off guard. So mention it early and often. How I do this is I always ask the question. I say, Cyan, how did you know Mrs. Jones who recommended you? How do you know Mrs. Jones who recommended you? So I just bring it up right there. Plus, that's conversation starter. And then another thing I like to say is, I've done a lot of demos. I've probably done about 600. So I'm more experienced with it. But for me, I share my About Me page. So talk to your manager about this, but I share my About Me page because how I feel is the more people know about me, the more they're going to like me. That's just how I feel about myself. So I tell them about myself, about my goals, and then I share my goals with them. I have a goal to earn a scholarship. I have a goal to complete this many appointments. I tell them the scholarship is based off of sales, but the sponsorship is based off of recommendations. So by the way, Mrs. Jones, I'll tell you more about recommendations at the end of the appointment, because that's the only way I can keep working. Right there on page 2, you can just incorporate it with that sentence. It's the only way I can keep working. But mention it early and often. So like ask about how they know the person who recommended them, and then mention it on page 2. But also I like to mention the scholarship is based off of sales. The sponsorship is based off of recommendations. So you can help me without buying anything today. And I'll tell you more about the sponsorship at the end of the appointment. And then other than that, when you ask confidently, they're going to respond with confidence, but you need to help them help you. So if they say, oh, I don't know anyone, what are they actually saying? They're not saying, I don't have any friends or family. They're saying, I don't know anyone who would buy. So then you say, oh, Mr. Jones, I'm looking for people who you think would buy, just nice people like you. Let me take a look, blah, blah, blah. Who do you know who loves to cook? Because they would be more interested. Or who do you know who's a teacher or a coach? Because that's what I want to do when I grow up. So I'd love to network with them. Or who's the nicest person in the world? You have to know at least one nice person. Or who do you know who doesn't hate college students? I don't know if you're a college student. That's one I can use. Who do you know who? And then give them thought joggers. Help them help you. Help them think of people. And the thing is, you're still going to find people who say, oh, I just can't think of anyone. Like, you're still going to have people like that. It's not, I don't have the answer for you. I'm just saying this will help you get less of that. On Monday, I had somebody tell me that they have to talk to them before they give me their phone number. I handled all the objections, blah, blah, blah. And they still said, oh, I have to talk to them first. Like, you're still going to find those people, but doing this is going to help. It's going to reduce that. So basically mention it early and often. I would just talk about how they know the person who recommended them. Mention scholarship is based off the sales, sponsorship is based off recommendations. On page 2, you're going to say, I only work through referrals, blah, blah, blah. And then memorize page 16. That'll take you. So for me, my manager took my keys, didn't let me leave until I had page 16 memorized. This was when I was trying to sell $10,000 in 2 weeks to go to Jamaica. So it made more sense than, my second day on the job. But he took my keys and didn't let me leave until I had it memorized. It took me 30 minutes. So I would put some time into that. And then just give them thought joggers. Who do you know who does this? Who do you know who likes to have the best of everything? And then just be persistent. You're not being pushy, you're just being persistent, because guess what? You can't do your job. You can't keep doing presentations if they don't give recommendations. So that's why you got to help them help you. Another thing, Zion, is I would look up Alex Funk. I'll throw his name in here. Alex Funk on YouTube. He has a lot of videos on like list recommendations. He has 3 on recommendations. I would watch that. He's going to say similar things to what I said, but he's going to give you even more stuff. Just search Alex Funk on YouTube. Find his Facebook page. I would watch the third virtual recommendation video is the one I would recommend watching. That one's probably the best. And you'll take away a lot from that. Who's next? Who's got another question for me? So I guess if you don't have any questions, go ahead and think about, all right, I got you in 1 second, Evan. If you don't have any questions, go ahead and just think about like, what's one part of the business you're struggling with? Or it's like, I have never sold an ultimate or a signature set before, so I could use some help selling the bigger sets. Or, I always feel like I could do better here on this part of my demo. Just think about like the part that you're struggling in your business. And then you can ask me a question, or you can just say, hey, I need help selling ultimate sets. And I can just give you some advice on that. Okay. All right, Evan.
So my question was just about tips for an upcoming demo for people that do own Cutco. What are some tips for Cutco owners that you would use?
Great. So first of all, everything starts on that phone call, the relationship, the rapport, just getting them excited for the demo starts on that phone call. So I'm sure you've all heard smile while you dial. For me, I'm not here cheesing while I'm waiting for them to pick up. But as soon as they pick up the phone, I'm seriously smiling the whole time. I did a phone jam with I ran a branch this summer. Melanie started my office. We did a phone jam. And I was like, what'd you notice from that phone call? She said, you're literally smiling the whole time. It's like, you just got to be that cheesy college kid. I'm not a cheesy person, but guess what? I'm cheesy when I'm selling Cutco because it works. So it starts on the phone call. And what I like to do is I like say, hey, my assignment's to show Cutco products that people I've recommended to get their opinion on. Are you familiar with Cutco? If they say yes, I get excited about it. Because imagine if they say yes and you go, oh, okay. And so you got to get excited about it. I go, oh, awesome. How long have you had it for? Well, great. So was it gifted to you or did you buy it? Okay, awesome. Just have a mini conversation there. But I always say, oh, awesome. How long have you had it for? Or if they say, yes, I'm familiar with Cutco. First of all, I ask them, okay, do you own some? Or how have you heard of Cutco? I own some Cutco. Okay, awesome. How long have you had it for? So it's like, get excited. That's just an easy question. How long have you had it for? And it just starts building rapport. And the thing is, I take notes. I just take notes on my customers. So it starts there. You book the demo, blah, 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 and then you hop in it. Some questions you want to ask. Here, this is a great question. It's like, do you remember how much money you spent on your Cutco? And then if they say, most of the time they'll be like, no, but I remember it was a lot of money. And then I just smile and I go, oh, yeah, Cutco is definitely not chump change. Just easy as that. Do you remember how much money you spent on your Cutco? They're going to say yes. If they say no, it's like, okay, well, do you remember that it's kind of pricey though? Okay, cool. Yeah, Cutco is definitely not chump change. So I'm just curious if you remember how much you spent on it. You just want to remind them off the bat that Cutco is not cheap, because it's not. Cheap things aren't good. Good things aren't cheap. You get what you pay for. That is a line I say at the bottom of page 3, because on page 3, you're talking about common knives, junk knives. Cheap things aren't good. Good things aren't cheap. You get what you pay for. Another question is like that one lady, Sarah said, did you buy it at a show? Did you buy it from a college student like me? Another question, here's a good one. Do you have any battle scars from your Cutco? Do you have any cuts? Do you have any battle scars from your Cutco? These are questions you ask in the demo, by the way. And then, like Sarah said, you need to know what they have. You have to. If they say, "Oh, I have like 6 pieces," you know, I don't always ask them to bring it to like Zoom. But what I'll do is when I'm going through the homemaker cell, I'll say, "Oh, do you have this piece?" And if I get a lot of, "Oh, I'm unsure," then I'll ask them to go grab it for me. But you need to know what they have, and then guess what? You need to write it down. Like I threw in the chat during one of those videos, I said, take notes on your customers. If your customer ever says, "Yeah, I have 7 siblings," write down 7 siblings, because guess what? There's 7 recommendations for you. And if you don't write it down, this is what happened to me on Monday. I didn't write that down, and so I didn't ask for her 7 siblings, and I'm mad at myself for it. So take notes on your customers. If she brings up, "Yeah, I make PB&J every day," I'll write down PB&J, because guess what? She needs a spaghetti spreader. So take notes on your customers. But for Cutco owners, those are the questions I would do. And other than that, it's like, I would hustle through the demo a little bit. Now, if they bought Cutco 24 years ago, I wouldn't really hustle through the demo because they haven't seen one, in 24 years. But if they bought Cutco 3 years ago, you can hustle through it. You still want to remind them of the important parts, which are why Cutco is expensive. So page 4, you don't have to read that line for line, but it's like you still need to hit on the 5 features that make Cutco expensive, because they need to be reminded that Cutco is expensive. Forever guarantee, don't ever forget about the forever guarantee. You need to remind them of that, because that is the biggest selling point to Cutco. It's forever guaranteed. They have a 15-day trial period. It's amazing. And then with the homemaker pieces, it's like, "Oh, you already have the paring knife, so what do you use your paring knife on?" Okay, awesome. It's for that. Or it's like, "Oh, I would actually use the trimmer for things like that." And then you show them the trimmer, because guess what? Now they need the trimmer. Yeah. Did you have a more specific question on Cutco owners? Because other than that, it's like I was saying, you have to get excited when they tell you they have Cutco. You have to. You just have to. And then I always ask them, "Oh, how long do you have it for?" Okay, awesome. And then once you're doing the demo, do you remember how much money, how much you spent on your Cutco? What's your favorite thing about it? Which piece do you use the least? That's actually a good one right there. Which piece do you use the least? Ask them which piece they use the least. Tell them what they would use that piece for. I heard this on a video of some sort, because if they already don't use all of their Cutco, why would they want to buy more? So you need to help them use all their Cutco. So it's like, which piece you use the least? Okay, well, by the way, that piece is for this, that, this, and that. Do you ever cut any of that stuff up every once in a while, maybe all the time? All right, well, yeah, definitely try it out. Definitely try it out then. I think you'll definitely see it's a lot easier when you use it on that. So yeah, Evan, I asked you.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, that was all that was all. There's no specific question there. I just wanted to ask that question. Because I actually have a Cutco owner demo coming up at 8:30. So
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So yeah,
awesome.
definitely. Yeah, those first, those easy questions. Do you remember how much money you spent on your Cutco? Do you have any battle scars? What's your favorite piece? What's your least favorite piece? Things like that. Those are just easy conversation starters. Plus, it's going to remind them that they like their Cutco, things like that. Okay, Avi.
So, I've been noticing that, because I'm still relatively new to the Cutco, I've been trying to play by the rules, so to speak, as far as getting like HM30s, for example, max. But I've been noticing, at least in my initial aims, was that a lot of the individuals who do most of the cooking are male. And not that they're necessarily single, but the female is busier, so they don't have the time to do like a couple demo. how would you recommend that I respond to that objection?
All right, so you said the husband. So basically, it's like, I mean, I always try to get both spouses there. You know, it's not going to happen all the time, though. I just tell them, it's like, Mrs. Jones, is your husband also available all the time? Oh, okay, no worries. I'll just ask him because, first of all, it's a lot more fun, in my opinion, if both spouses can be there. Plus, I also get double credit if both can be there. Is there a better time that works for both of you? Like if we did this time or this time? And she says, no, it's just no. So, okay, well, no worries. You know, it's not the end of the world. You know, you always just got to like shake things off, smile, laugh about it. You know, it's not the end of the world. I just was curious if you would be able to be there. Mrs. Jones, if you don't mind me asking, like, if you were to see something you liked on the presentation, would you be comfortable making a purchasing decision by yourself? If you were to see something you liked on the presentation, would you be comfortable making a purchasing decision by yourself? I asked Tracy Hare that. She said, I mean, probably not unless it's like, if it's nothing over like $100. I was like, well, shoot, basically everything we have is over $100, but I'm gonna do the presentation anyways. She bought a galley set, gave me 15 recommendations. I did appointments. I did demos with 12 out of the 15 recs. All 12 of them bought for me. So it's hands down worth it. And just asking that question gets them in the mindset that they might buy something on the appointment. If they say no, you know, I will tell you, doing a demo with one person this week is better than trying to do a demo with both of them next week. Because it happens, you know, it happens. But if you wait till next week, it's, you know, it's not happened yet. So it's like, I would still do the appointment with them. That's my advice with that is, you know, try to find a time that works for both of them and tell them why it's important. You know, for me, it's more fun to do demos with both spouses, plus they get double credit for both there. Is there a better time, maybe at this time or this time, this day or this day, that works for both of you? If they say no, it's like, okay, well, I mean, Mrs. Jones, if you did see something you liked, would you be comfortable making a purchasing decision by yourself? It's like, that's another reason why we want both spouses there, you know? So that is how I would go about those.
Oh, of course. Just to clarify, what I mean is that the person I would be doing the demo for is the husband, even though I know we're not supposed to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'm sure your manager's been preaching to you, make sure both spouses are there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, I would try and get both spouses there, but like I was saying, I would rather do a demo for just the husband tomorrow than possibly, you know, then I'd rather book that demo for tomorrow with just the husband than me call them back next week to see if I can find a time for next week. Because, you know, that's unlikely to happen. So I would still do the appointment.
Thank you.
And let me answer this question in the chat. Sarah Chell, yep, she's still here. So I said this earlier, building rapport starts on the phone. By the way, everybody, I'm not looking at the chat too much. So I hope I didn't miss any other questions. Doesn't look like it, but building rapport starts on the phone. So this is what I do. I say, hey, is this Mrs. Jones? Great. Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is Connor Thomas. Not sure if my name rings a bell, but I was over to see your friend, Shauna Ferris, 2 weeks ago. And she said you were super nice and I should give you a phone call. Did Shauna mention I might be reaching out? So it's like right there, I didn't crack a joke, but what I did was I said, she said you were super nice, and I chuckled a little bit. And she said I should give you a phone call. And the thing is, I was smiling, I have my phone voice on, I'm sounding friendly. That's just a good first impression. Another thing, I crack jokes on the phone. So it's like, Mrs. Jones, it's really fun and it's really easy. The appointment only takes about like 7 to 8 hours, you know, nothing too serious. I'm just kidding, Mrs. Jones. It's only about 1 hour long. I will warn you, I do love to chit chat. So it can take an hour and 15 minutes sometimes, but typically about an hour long. Blah, 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 blah. And then next part is you need to thank them a lot. I would thank them like 5 or 6 times on the phone call. So it's like, thank you so much, Mr. Jones. This means a lot to me. And listen to this line. This might just seem like a simple knife presentation to you, but this appointment is really helping me towards my goals. So I want to thank you again for taking time out of your night to help me out. This might just seem like a simple knife presentation to you, but this is really helping me towards my goals. So I want to thank you again for taking time out of your night to help me towards to listen to my presentation. Mrs. Jones, by the way, do you have your schedule or calendar close by? You do? Awesome. Would you mind just jotting this in there for me? Just because I'm counting on this appointment just to keep me on track for the scholarship. So my name is spelled Connor. Thomas is spelled how it usually is. My scholarship number is 552233078. By the way, that's your rep number. When you say scholarship number, it sounds more serious. I can't tell you how many times I'll say my scholarship number is 552233078 and they go, oh wait, let me get a pencil. Because that's what they weren't writing it down before. So it's like my scholarship number is 552233078. And by the way, go ahead and highlight that, Mrs. Jones, because I promise I'll be the highlight of your day. Yeah, and just so you know, I'll have other couple cheesy jokes for you, so be looking forward to those. Yeah, and thank you again so much for helping me out. I can't tell you how much this means to me. I hope you have a great week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you Monday at 2 p.m. So that's how I start building rapport on the phone, is I smile when I'm talking to them for my phone voice. Crack jokes on the phone. It takes 7 to 8 hours. Oh, I'm just kidding. It only takes 1 hour. I'll warn you. I like to chit chat. Highlight that because I promise I'll be the highlight of your day. Oh, and then it might just seem like a simple knife presentation to you, but this is really helping me towards my goals. So that's how I would start. Start right on the phone. And the next way to help build a rapport with them. One second. Is having an about me page. I said this a second ago. I don't know if you all heard it, but my philosophy is the more people know about me, the more they like me. So I tell them about myself. Here's my family on the left, my friends on the right. We did a Christmas card. Felt like I had to show off this picture because I thought it was really cool. And then the reason why I love my job is I get to create my own schedule, which is awesome as a college student. I get to meet a lot of friendly new people like you, and I get to travel to some cool places. I've been to Cabo, or I've been to Jamaica, Cabo. I also earned a trip to Hawaii. What's your favorite place you ever traveled to? So there's another conversation start. I say, where's your favorite place you ever traveled to? What would you recommend a vacation spot for? So here's building rapport easy as you can do it right here. And then you just got to build it throughout the whole demo. That just takes experience. I've done like 600 presentations. I have that thing memorized. I was just basically reading the phone approach right off the top of my head. It's like I have the manual in my head. So for me, it's easy to have a conversation in the middle of the demo and hop right back into it. So basically, I don't have any tips to that, but I would have conversations throughout the entire presentation. If they start saying something about, oh, my friend Susie, I think my friend Susie has a Cutco pizza cutter. I'd say, oh, awesome. I don't have a great example, I guess, but just feel free to have conversations throughout the entire presentation because that's going to keep them more involved. Does that help, Sarah? Yeah. But first of all, it starts on that phone call because this is what I like to say. If you made them laugh on the phone, if they wrote it down in their calendar, they're not going to forget about it and they're going to be looking forward to it. So it all starts on the phone call. Okay. And then how do you pronounce your name?
Adorinsola.
Adorinsola. That is a very unique name.
Thank you. You said you earned the All-American Scholarship, correct?
Yes.
All right. So will you please walk me through your action steps, standards? I know you talked about your schedule earlier, but what did you sell sets mostly? Like larger sets mostly? Was that how many demos a week? What was your plan?
So for me, I guess what I'm doing now is I did the math on, right now I'm only at 4,900 for this campaign. I'm way behind. So I need to sell 15 and some change by the end of the year. So I wrote this down. I need to make 45 more sales because my average order is 334 right now, which is lower than my typical average order. So basically to do this is, if you want to earn a scholarship, I would plan to sell 20K. So it's like, if you want to sell 20 grand divided by your average order size will tell you how many sales you'll need to make. For me, I guess I close on 70% of my sales on my demos. So it's like, what I did was so for me, I need to sell 15 grand. That divided by 334 is 45 sales. closing percentage, I did 45 divided by 0.7, which means I need to complete 67 more demos. There's 10 weeks left. So I have to do 6 or 7 demos each and every week. And for me, I'm only gonna do 6 because for Thanksgiving, I'm probably gonna sell an extra $2,000 that week from past customers. I'm also going to start working events. I'm gonna start doing booths. So for that, I'm gonna sell like $2,000 in a weekend. So for me, I'm gonna do 6 appointments every week for the rest of the year. But that is how you map out what you need to do. On top of that, if I need to do 6 demos a week, I'm not gonna book 6 demos on a Thursday night. For me, literally, yesterday I made 66 phone calls at the team meeting. I only booked 2 demos, and I was pissed. But it's like Jesse was saying, it's not about how long you phone, it's about how many phone calls you made. I made 66 phone calls in an hour and 30 minutes. I was working my ass off. I only booked 2 demos. So for me, I need to phone 3 different times a week. So I phone Thursday night, Saturday morning, and Sunday from 6:30 to 7:30 between the NFL games, because I love football and I watch a lot of football on Sunday. So what I did was I put phone time in my schedule when I'm not missing out on anything else. So that's why what Jesse was saying, plan, put your big rocks in first. For me, football on a Sunday is a want to, but it's important to me. So I'm prioritizing that over other things. So basically, like for me, I need to phone 3 times a week to book 6 appointments. So that's another thing you need to think about. How many phone calls does it take you to book a demo? And then on top of that, like a standard would be don't go a week without making a sale. More important would be never go a week without doing a demo. There's been this campaign, I've gone 1 week with 0 sales, but I have not gone a week without doing a demo. So that's a standard, because if you do that, that is, that's just a big deal, because 20K over 16 weeks, it's over $1,000 a week. So if you miss a whole week, it's a big deal. So that's my advice is, plan it out, see what you need to do. Phone times, you can also phone in the mornings. For me, I do get up early enough to phone every day. I just don't want to phone in the morning because I'm already doing something else. So I phone Thursday night, Saturday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. and then Sunday from 5:30 to 6:30, or from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. I already know when I'm phoning each and every week. And if you do that, if you talk with your manager, and if you figure out what you need to do, and then you do it, that's how you'll do it. Is that the answer you're looking for?
Yeah, and you said you don't book up all 6 demos on like Thursday. Like, why not? Is it because you might not be able to, or is it just because you?
I won't have 6 people answer the phone. So like I made 66 phone calls on Thursday. I think I had 4 or 5 people pick up. 1 politely declined. 2 people, I got to text them or call them back, and then I booked 2. So it's like for me, I made 66 phone calls. I only had 5 people pick up. So I can't, my stats aren't good enough to book 6 appointments. There's also been another time, I remember I made 7 phone calls and I booked 6 demos. I was like, holy shit, that was a lot of fun. And then I was done because I could not do 6 demos. So then I called early that night. So it's like, you're gonna have good phone times, your bad phone times, but I personally right now, I cannot book 6 appointments during the team meeting. So I have to do other phone times. So, all right, any other questions? So again, go ahead and think about like what part of the business you're struggling on. Because I'll tell you right now, these roundtables is where you get the best information, because you can actually ask what you want to know. You can ask exactly what you want to know. So just think about like what you're struggling on, what you wish you could learn more about, blah, blah, blah.
So I had a quick question. So a lot through my demo, like one of my customers, like I told them, like, be honest with me, be like critique me, whatnot. And they said, yeah, they said that I add a lot of like, I forgot what she called it, but I kept saying yeah throughout the like demo instead, like kind of like saying or like thinking about stuff, and it was really hard for me to like try to find something in common with her or like trying to connect with her. Like she just kept giving me short answers, and so I didn't know how to make the demo more like entertaining and more like easygoing.
Okay. I would say, I would ask, so I mean, you said you did ask her questions and she would just give you short answers. So an easy way to get a longer answer is just say, oh, tell me more about that. So it's like, what's your favorite place to travel to? She says, Florida. Well, where'd you go in Florida? Like, tell me a little bit more about your vacation. And like, if she's really just being stubborn, being short, don't try too hard, but like, dig into it a little bit. It's like, oh, tell me more about that. It's like, and then just ask a question about that question. You don't need to move on to a different question, but keep asking questions about why she likes Florida. Oh, are you from Florida or something? That's a tip for that. Originally, what was the thing you first said? Was the very first part that you said?
That I just kept adding a lot of.
You said
like,
yeah a lot.
Yeah.
So basically, I would just read the manual, just stare at the manual, read it word for word. That's what I did, and I promise you, I could read the entire manual from page 1 to 8, from page 2 to 8 right now, just because I said it so many times. So that's, if you're reading, you're not going to be saying or yeah, because you're reading something. So that's what I would do. And the thing is, when you start doing that, it's going to get in your head, and then you can kind of make more eye contact and move back and forth. So I would just stick to the manual more. And then also just keep it simple. It doesn't sound like you're adding stuff to it, but I wouldn't add much to it. For me, I like to add stories on pages 6 and 7. When I'm talking about pieces, I say my grandmother uses the paring knife on potatoes, but my mom uses the veggie peeler. I have 2 spatula spreaders because I use it so much that me and my roommate need 2. My best friend bought the trimmer. My best friend in college bought the trimmer. So guess what? A college kid can afford Cutco. I bet you can too. I don't say that, obviously. And then putting stories behind those things, because when you give them stories, it just they can see the story in their head. So it's like, other than that, I wouldn't add it. Like I was saying, I add stories because stories are a big deal, but I wouldn't add much more. I wouldn't add anything else to your demo really until you have it down. Like Vernon was saying, what he was saying, his stuff was kind of advanced. So he said, don't even worry about this until you have the demo memorized. So I'm agreeing with that. You need to get your demo down, and you're gonna be more confident doing, then you can add whatever you want to it. So that's what I would say, is I'll just focus more on reading the manual. I think that'll help a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Delaney?
So my question is about recommendations. For some people, they've been really willing and they've given me like 20, which is really nice. But I've had some people that they're like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So what do you normally do when that happens?
I would just clarify their objection. So like on the homemaker set, it's like, oh, if you want me asking, we're sure about the homemaker set. If they say, it's too many pieces, it's like, you handle the objection, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you need to figure out what exactly it is. I don't feel comfortable. It's like, okay, what do you mean? Like, would you, and then this is what I would say. It's like, would you rather text them first or something? Okay, great. Well, just like Mrs. Jones texted you that I might be reaching out, I was going to have you text them as well. So, I mean, yeah, I was going to have you text them first and talk to them first. So, I mean, who's the nicest? And then you just hop back and thought joggers. I mean, who's the nicest person, If they're like, well, I need to talk to them first. I mean, that's not the easiest thing to handle, but there might be something in the manual. But I guess I would just say, well, Mrs. Jones, I'm just a college student. It's not like I'm going to do anything with these names and numbers. I was going to have you text them first. I wouldn't even reach out until you've already texted them all. On top, so this is a little side note. Let's say they give you 5 recommendations and say, oh, thank you so much. I would always try and ask for more. Ms. Jones, I don't like ending on odd numbers. Is there any chance you can get one more person to get to an even number? And then, you can do the exact same thing as an even number, just to crack the joke, have fun. But I would tell Mrs. Jones or Delaney, did Mrs. Jones text you? I might be reaching out. Awesome. I was going to actually ask you to do the same thing for me, just because I always prefer that those people will have a heads up. I'll be reaching out. So I'm going to shoot you this text. And by the way, most of the people, they're probably just going to say, okay, sounds good. And by the way, some people are probably going to forget to reply. So that's one type of response. They're going to say, okay, sounds good, or they'll forget to reply. There's going to be some people, I mean, if somebody says, OMG, I need more Cutco, please let me know, because I'll call them sooner than later. So that's the second type. But every once in a while, somebody's not interested. So it doesn't happen a lot, but if for some reason somebody tells you that they're not interested, please let me know, because I don't want to bother them. I'll just cross them off my list and I won't reach out to them. So that reminds them of the importance of sending a heads up text. You tell them what to expect. They're going to say, okay, sounds good. Might not reply. That's one. They're excited. Let me know sooner than later, because I'll call them sooner. If they are not interested, also let me know, because I don't want to bother anyone. So that's that will help you get the heads up text them out. But going back to, I guess, do you have a specific example of what somebody says? Because if they're not comfortable, I would say, okay, well, I mean, what do you mean by you're uncomfortable? Like, I would just clarify the objection, and then you can kind of solve it. Did you have an example?
I guess I've had like two people that come to mind. They were just like, no, I don't want to give you my contacts. The one, she was like, I'm a realtor and I have like clients. And I was like, oh no, like you don't have to give me like clients, maybe just like some family and friends. And you of course can there's like a text. And I was like, and you can text them first. If they say no, I will not contact them. And she was like, no. I was like,
so I'll just ask the questions. I mean, do you think any of your family members would be nice enough to listen? So it's like just moving off the topic. It's like, oh, my clients, I'm not gonna let you touch my clients. But okay, well, I mean, do you think any of your family members would be nice enough to listen? And things you just gotta ask real nonchalantly, real laid back, obviously. It's like, that's what I would do in that situation. And I have no clue what she's gonna say. She could just, oh no, I don't want to do that either. But it's like, that's something to think about. But again, I'll just clarify and then try to solve that, try to help them help you. Is where I would
yeah,
go.
that sounds a lot better. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, you're still going to get people where they say no, 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 no matter what. With experience, you're going to learn how to answer those objections better. So that's what it is. And then, Jacob, did you have your hand up?
Oh yeah, I did. For some reason I lowered it. But my question was, so after you get through the knives, do you transition over to like the other things like the cookware and like the like pans and things? Like how do you do that in a way that like presents itself nicely versus, hey, we also have this? Like,
Yeah. Well, I show them everything, and I tell them that, I'm going to show you everything because Cutco's awesome. So I'm just going to make sure that you know about everything we have here. And then, here's our cookware. Our cookware is just like the knives. Top of line quality, easy to use, easy to clean, forever guaranteed. Another thing I thought of was Vernon's description on cookware was different from that. So I'm also going to say that. So I'm going to say about 3 sentences. And I'm going to ask them the question, were you thinking about updating your cookware in the next 2 to 5 years? If they say yes, I play the video. If they say no, I move on. Our silverware is awesome. If you like our knives, you'll love our silverware. It's the last American-made high-quality silverware with the forever guarantee. My mom has some of this. It is amazing. I can tell you all about it. Were you thinking about updating your cookware or updating your silverware in the next 2 to 5 years? Because I'd be happy to tell you more about it. That's what it is. I keep it real nonchalant, and I will say I don't sell a lot of cookware silverware, and that's probably why, because I don't really try to sell it to them too hard. So that's probably why. But that's my advice is, keep it short and sweet. Still telling them that our cookware is freaking amazing. It's forever guaranteed. We're thinking about updating it. Another easier question is, well, go ahead and tell me about your cookware situation, because they're probably going to complain, and you can just hop in there. But that's how I do cookware silverware. And I say gadgets. Well, guess what? I already showed you these gadgets. I remind them, ice cream scoop melts ice cream. Can't open as a magnet, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, guess what? We also have sporting knives. Do you like to garden, or do you like to fish or hunt? No? Okay, we also have garden tools. Do you like to garden? No? Well, who likes to garden? Do you like them enough to give them a present? And by the way, if they say my friend Susie likes to garden, I write down Susie, and then I ask, hey, do you think your friend Susie, who likes to garden, would be nice enough to listen to my presentations? So there's a recommendation for you. Take notes on your customers. That's a question I like to do. If they say, oh, I don't do that, I say, well, who does? And I write that down and get recommended to them. By the way, everybody, I am leaving at 8 on the dot. I have plans right after this. So Jacob, I hope that helped. I'm gonna throw my phone number in here. I'm gonna answer one more question. I'm sorry, I'm only gonna limit it to one. Feel free to text me. I'd be more than happy to help you out. That's my cell phone, Connor Thomas. Is there one last question? Hey, Gerald. Gerald, you kind of look like you have a question.
Do you start big, or do you start small and then build up?
Always start big. Always start big and drop down. And then for like list, a quote I like to say is just so you know, Mrs. Jones, the more you buy, the more you can get for free. And then just keep showing them stuff, blah, blah, blah. Gerald?
No, don't have a question. I've just been taking advantage of being here in the breakout room and recording the breakout for the division.
All right, perfect. I guess my last tip is just make sure you're having fun in your demos. I literally love selling Cutco because guess what? I'm selling the best product in the universe to someone who's going to use it all the time. And then I'm also selling American-made products, all our factory workers in Olean. I'm helping keep them in business. I'm helping myself towards my goals. This and that. I just absolutely love Cutco. It's a lot of fun. Another thing is remember that buying something is an emotional experience. So they're not going to buy Cutco just because they like you and they had a lot of fun. They're on the edge though. I mean, they might pull the trigger, but I will tell you, they will recommend you to a lot of people if they like you and they had a lot of fun. So make sure you're having a lot of fun in your demos because rapport goes throughout the whole demo. Having fun builds rapport. So that's just my last tip for you. Just make sure you're having fun in your demos. I take it serious about having fun. That's something, and when I run my interviews, I kind of say it's like, I'm not looking for just anybody who can sell a lot of Cutco. I'm more so looking for people who can represent our company because I love this product and I want people to have a lot of this product. So I'm looking for people who's going to sell a lot of Cutco with, good manners, blah, 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 that stuff. So just make sure I have a lot of fun.
All right, well, thank you for taking the time out, Connor. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I hope that had a lot of value. There is my phone number. Please text me. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to reply to you tonight or tomorrow because I already have plans for both days, but I will get back to you and I'd love to help you out. So all of you, thank you for coming. You have a great night and I look forward to seeing you sometime in the future. Take care.